In a peaceful forest, beside a calm and sparkling lake, lived a swan with feathers as white as soft cotton and a crow with wings black as midnight. Though they looked so different, their hearts beat with the same rhythm of kindness. Every morning, they sat on the same stone, watching the sunrise and the golden ripples dance across the water. But one morning, just before the Pongal festival, the swan wasn't her usual happy self. Her wings drooped slightly, and she stared at the sky a little longer than usual. You see, Pongal was just one day away, a time of colors, joy, sugarcane, and family. But this year, the swan would not be flying back to her family pond. The other swans had already gone far away, and the swan quietly stayed behind with no words, just memories. The crow, watching from a nearby branch, noticed the stillness in his friend's eyes. He tilted his head, thinking and wondering. He may have been a bird of shadows, but inside him was a heart full of sunshine. That evening, while the swan rested beneath a banyan tree, the crow flew away high above the treetops, beyond the hills, past the rice fields glowing gold in the setting sun. He visited the farmers, quietly picking up a small stalk of leftover sugarcane. From a nearby village, he watched children draw columns in white rice flour and memorized the patterns with his sharp eyes. He even gathered wildflowers from the forest orange, yellow and redanned, plucked a few dry twigs with care. From the fireflies, who always lit up the pond at night, he asked for help, with a quiet flutter and a kind nod. The next morning, as the swan opened her eyes, something magical had happened. The stone where they sat was cleaned and decorated with a perfect column drawn in white petals. A tiny banana leaf held a special meal pongal made from forest fruits and roasted seeds. Sugarcane pieces stood on each side like pillars of celebration, and above it all the branches were gently tied with hanging flower garlands that swayed in the breeze, while fireflies, even in the daylight, blinked softly like tiny glowing stars. The swan looked around, her eyes wide. She knew this wasn't just the forest's doing. She gently turned, and there, sitting quietly on a branch, was the crow. He didn't flap his wings or call out. He just watched, with the warmest eyes. Though there were no other swans, no large pots bubbling in village courtyards, and no distant calls of temple drums. Here, at their quiet lake, Pongal had arrived. Sometimes, the greatest celebrations are not loud or crowded. Sometimes, they happen quietly, on a stone near a lake, between two friends who care. That day, the swan didn't miss her family pond. Because family, as she had learned, isn't just where you're born. It's also who shows up when you need them most. And so, the Pongal sun rose high, shining on a swan, a crow, and a celebration made from love, leaves, and loyalty.